Hey everyone, Howard Gearhauser here. Dad, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Perfect. So, in today's video episode, we wanted to talk about our routine that we do before we go to sleep. Now, this is really important because what I used to do that was problematic is I would fall asleep with like the TV on. My sleep environment wasn't really cleaned up. So then I would go into my dream state and into my deep sleep with almost a subconscious programming going on in the background. So that's not a good thing. You'll actually dream about like the crap you're watching on TV, and that'll be your dream state. Where we really want sleep to be something that can be productive and help us heal, help us repair. So we do have a little routine that we found to be super useful so you can wake up feeling really recharged and maybe even have more clarity on your purpose or how your day should go. So I'll start and then I'll pass it over to my dad. But the first thing you want to do, as I just alluded to, don't fall asleep with the TV on and don't have TV shows, unless they're really uplifting or educational, be the last thing that you do before you go to bed. So I recommend meditating or listening to some relaxing music before you go to bed, kind of in that transition into your sleep, because that can keep you in a relaxed mood and you don't have that subconscious stuff going on. So don't fall asleep watching Real Housewives of Orange County, for example. You'll wake up gossiping. Or don't watch something scary, on Netflix as you're falling asleep. These are really things that can affect your subconscious programming. Now, another one that I want my dad to touch on is making sure that you have your phone, your smartphone, on airplane mode, as well as your Wi-Fi disconnected, ideally. Can you explain why that's so important for sleep?
Yes, well, the electromagnetic fields contain information, and so the artificial ones made by man, or Wi-Fi or cell phone, they affect our cell membrane. So our cells, are a sac, a very dynamic sac that has what are called voltage gated channels. So these are channels that either let things in or don't let them in, that are really activated by electromagnetic signals, but they should be the electromagnetic signals of the earth or of nature, or of the internal ones that your body creates. So when we have a whole alien electromagnetic signal, studies show that these activate the channels in our membranes and let things into the cell that create inflammation. So we know the hormone of sleep is melatonin. Well, melatonin gets used up if it's having to take care of what are called reactive oxygen species and reactive nitrogen species. Those are free radicals that they damage fats in your cells, they damage proteins in your cells, they damage carbohydrates in your cells. So you get this internal damage. So we want to have a time each day so that our body does a lot of repair during sleep. So you want it activated without creating more damage, while we're sleeping. So if you can lower the electromagnetic fields, because we're all exposed to them. If you live in the city, you're exposed to cell towers and radio broadcast towers and radar from the airport, and all these different signals are bombarding us. So we want to kind of give ourselves as much break as we can over things that we control. So we control our cell phone, we control whether our Wi-Fi is on or not. And these things are real. The science shows these things actually happen, and that those voltage gated calcium channels actually let calcium into the cell, and there's a chain reaction that leads to these reactive oxygen and nitrogen species, which are damaging. So this isn't speculation. Now, it's speculation whether or not this is going to kill you, or it's speculation whether or not you're going to get a certain type of tumor or get Alzheimer's disease. But we, just want to apply what we call the precautionary principle of We know that they do things that aren't so good. If it's in your control to shut up, you can't shut off the broadcast tower or the radar from the airport. You can't shut those off. So you're getting plenty of these signals as it is in our modern environment. You want to reduce them as much as you can.
Right. So again, just to reiterate, cell phone off or in airplane mode, and then turn off the Wi-Fi. You know, don't have all those EMFs going on when you're asleep. You're not using it anyways. Turn it off.
Yeah,
Another
if you
thing,
have to have your cell phone on, like, there's somebody that there could be an emergency. What I'd recommend doing is getting a case that blocks a direction, then have the cell phone across the room. There is a rule in physics about how much radiation uh, you're exposed to from your cell phone or from a cell tower or from your Wi-Fi, and it's called the inverse square law. So as you double the distance from the source, you decrease your exposure by 4 times. So just as much distance as possible. So with a cell phone, you have kind of a low exposure at 40 feet away. I know that's quite a ways away. Usually that's in the next room unless you have a giant bedroom. But 40 feet away, your exposure is way, way less than it's right there in your bedstand right next to you. But there are shielding cases. Pong makes one, Safe Sleeve makes one, where you can, there's one side of the case that blocks it. So if you have to be on call for some reason, possible emergency, at least do that. Get a shielding case that will reduce some of it. Then if it's across the room, that will reduce more. And that also tells you, don't do this with your cell phone. You're getting 100% of it right into your brain if you put the cell phone. So I never, ever, unless I'm in court and talking to my lawyer as they're about to pronounce, okay, he's getting the death penalty. I try to, even though I'm a doctor and, confidentiality is important, I use a headset. I don't have that cell phone right here. That just is not smart to do that ever. And of course, especially a kid who is much more susceptible to this damage from a cell phone, a child with their thinner skull and their immature brain. You never want to have your kid doing this. We always talk about protecting our families. To us, this is really important. This is important for the whole planet. If everybody protects their planet, we'll have happier people. We'll have a better planet. We'll have more love and more connection on our planet if we have happier, healthier people.
so to get back to the sleep routine, so the EMF, and that just goes for during the day too, as we mentioned. Be smart about your cell exposure. There's a lot of evidence showing that it has harmful effects. So if you're going to use it, just be smart. I'm not saying stop using it, just practice some caution. Another thing you want to do is wear blue blockers if you're going to be watching TV or looking at blue light. That's going to prevent your circadian rhythms from breaking, which is really important for accessing deep sleep and secreting hormones at the right times. So blue blockers, we have a whole video on artificial light at night, so you'll want to check that one out if you need more information on that. Another big topic that I don't hear a lot of people talking about, but it's very powerful, and it's kind of related to prayer, but is setting an intention for your sleep. So if you kind of look at sleep as an opportunity to heal, maybe learn something, maybe find clarity on your purpose, or maybe even have a question about your job or your business, set an intention like, dear God, or whatever you believe in, help me have clarity on this, or help me heal this part of my body. If you set an intention for your sleep, you'll be pretty amazed at how that works. And you wake up and it's like, wow, like I have clarity, or wow, this part of my body doesn't hurt as much. This is real stuff. So give that a try too. And then the final thing I would say is practice gratitude right before you go to sleep. When you go to sleep in a grateful state, in a state of appreciation, wow, do you get better sleep? You're not stressed out. You're not reliant on substances to help you sleep because you're stressed out of your mind. So when you practice gratitude, that takes you out of the stress response, kind of quiets the mind and makes it a lot easier to fall asleep. Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think those are very good recommendations. Sleep is a time where our brain kind of remolds. So there's, one of the things we do with emotions and memories and all these things is we make synaptic connections, and the pruning of the synaptic connections goes on when you sleep. So if you're in a negative frame of mind, you prune things to keep that negativity. So you want to you want to have a period of time without the artificial electromagnetic fields. You want to have a period of time without the negative thoughts. You don't want to hardwire those into your memory, or it's going to create problems down the road. You're not going to be as healthy or as happy.
Yeah, and just one final point about sleep. If you do want to listen to some things that are positive, maybe affirmations or whatnot, that can actually affect your subconscious programming in a positive way. So that's another option too, if you want to have some affirmations going. There's also certain frequencies and tones you can listen to, a lot of free stuff on YouTube. If you're going to do that on YouTube though, be careful, like read through the comments, look at the likes and views, because there's certain frequencies that can mess with your subconscious as well. So be kind of cognizant of that. Make sure that this is a trusted, reliable source. Don't go listen to just anything on the internet. Again, I've heard some stories that's never happened to me, but you just want to be careful with that type of thing when you're listening to these tones or these things that are doing subconscious programming. But there are a lot of really great resources too that can, like I said, just kind of do some work while you're asleep. You might as well take advantage of that 7, 8 hours when you're sleeping to get some work done. Anything you want to add before we sign off on this one?
No, I think this is really good advice. I think it's really important in our modern stressed out world where we got the stress response going, which can create insomnia in and of itself. But then even if we do sleep, we don't get the recovery uh, because the stress response impedes the recovery response that we have, that keeps us healthy and keeps us from aging too fast and keeps us from the modern diseases that unfortunately are exploding today. And this is one of the key things that can help mitigate that.
Cool. Well, hopefully you found this information helpful. As you guys probably know by now, we have tons of free content on our YouTube channel, as well as our Facebook fan page and Instagram account, which is called Quantum Possibility. You probably see that on the video here, so go check that out if you want more free stuff. If you're someone who would like a custom health program built out where we do a deep dive into your health history and your current situation and then construct a plan for you on how to get everything dialed in, go check out customhealthprogram.com. There's also a link in the description to that. And if that interests you, you can read more about what's included in that program. But if not, make sure you're implementing as always, and we will see you guys on the next video.